Injuries galore. It was a shame to see the injuries going, especially for the 49ers, who are lost and probably going to lose for a while, several weeks, if not the season, of Raheem Mostert, who's probably likely out with a knee injury, Jimmy G with his ankle, Nick Bosa with his knee. I believe it's one of the linemen we had on the 49ers who's out possibly with a knee injury. But here's some more. Saquon Barkley out with a knee, most likely tore MCL. Sterling Shepard on the Giants out with a toe injury. For the Denver Broncos, Cortland Sutton out with a knee. Drew Lock was injured with his arm. Now they got the win with Driscoll getting the right position, but out again. For the Colts, Paris Campbell out with a knee. For the Rams, Cam Akers out with an arm. I mean, the list goes on, but the notable injuries that this week was staggering.
Welcome to the ChadBurn Show, brought to you by M. Chad Baldwin.
Welcome to the ChadBurn Show. I am your host, ChadBurn. And today's episode, well, while I want to say it's going to be fun and I have a lot of stuff to talk about that'll be interesting for really everyone out there, it's not that fun for me. We're recording again Monday, September 21st, after another football Sunday, week 2 in the NFL season. And well, I have been sadly disappointed by my team, the Eagles. That's right. If you're an Eagles fan, you're listening right now, or anyone that just a part of the NFC East, you understand that for an Eagles fan to start 0-2 is, well, really not where we want to be. It really starts causing some trauma, some anxiety, some serious doubting within the team, within the coaching staff, within our quarterback, Carson Wentz, which is something I thought I'd be able to hold back for a long time, but it is starting to creep from the back of my head to the front. There is doubt coming into my mind about the starting quarterback. There is doubt coming to my mind about who I thought was the franchise leading quarterback for this team for many years to hold on to the reign of the starting quarterback for this team, similar to Donovan McNabb. I knew there'd be ups and downs. I knew there'd be low downs. We've been in Eagles. As an Eagles fan, you understand that there will be some serious lows most of the time. But I was unfortunately thought we'd be riding highs and seeing a 2017 Carson Wentz all the time. That is not the case. So in this episode of the ChadBurn Show, unfortunately, I'm going to have a tone a little bit of disappointment and aggravation. But I'm going to try and hold off as long as I can from going into that tirade that will be unveiled for the Philadelphia Eagles football team, the coaching staff, the quarterback, the defense, defensive coordinator, really the whole shebang. I'm going to hold off on that and really going to focus on a few other things to talk about before we go into it. So it is week 2 of the NFL. I want to talk some major highlights, some major themes in the NFL. It is worth noting that obviously there's also an NBA playoff series happening and going on. The Heat have a 2-1 lead on the Celtics after 2 really come from behind wins. It's been incredible to see that happen. The Nuggets have been trying their best to take on the Lakers, but are being a bit overwhelmed. The Lakers are 2-0 up right now in that series. Probably going to take a 3-0 stranglehold lead tomorrow. And then that's really all she wrote, I think, for the West Conference. But the Heat's are still in a good position. Celtics fighting back. Great NBA talk. We're going to have more of that conversation, especially next week as we get further into the playoff series, as we see kind of, the obvious members who are going to be in the finals and discuss who we think is the favorites coming out of that. But obviously, we're going to focus on the NFL. We're going to do a little discussion. So I wanted to start off by talking some major highlights and some of the games that really piqued my interest because of some of the big plays and some of the amazing stats that came out of that. Namely, we're going to go over the Bills that beat the Dolphins, the Packers over the Lions, the Seahawks versus the Patriots, and yes, I'm even going to hit on a little bit the Cowboys and the Falcons. But first, I want to discuss the Bills over the Dolphins because I thought it was an incredible game because we saw Josh Allen throw for 417 yards. Josh Allen, the one who many people thought would not be a great quarterback in this league because all he could do is run. He had a big arm, but no accuracy, did not have a lot of game management. Well, the guy came from behind and led to a great game against the Dolphins. So the Dolphins valiantly tried to make a comeback against the Bills in that game, really tried to push it hard. Fitzpatrick started connecting at least lower the games. The defense was really getting to Josh Allen in the second half, but luckily the Bills came out and Josh Allen was just slinging it till the end, scoring touchdowns. I believe it was 3 or 4 different wide receivers. And the big story coming out of the Bills one as well is Stephon Diggs. Yes, the Minnesota Vikings, Stephon Diggs, who in the offseason was traded over to the Buffalo Bills. Huge game that game. 13 targets, 8 receptions, 153 yards, and a TD, slowly becoming the favorite target of Josh Allen right there with John Brown. Josh Allen has really been loving throwing to Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is catching really difficult catches. Josh Allen has come to the point where he just kind of puts it up there and hopes Diggs will get it. He had 2 amazing catches along the sideline, over the shoulder passes. He took one where he almost ripped it out of the defender's hands, going up and going higher than all the defenders. It really has been amazing to see the Bills, who have always had a very good run kind of first offense, really slinging it. I mean, the kid can throw. And Josh Allen, I think, is going to be around for a while now, and the Bills have a solid team that they can get behind and really support, and in contention to take that AFC East spot, because now the Bills are 2-0. Dolphins obviously are 0-2. Jets are 0-2, obviously. And the Patriots are 1-1. So the Bills are at the top of the AFC East. They have a real shot to take that one home of the division because, as we saw last night, the Patriots are going to be good, but there are going to be shortfalls with a quarterback like Cam Newton, especially in the final drive in the short yard distance. They are not going to be a passing team. They're going to be a running team. So we're going to see how far the Patriots can do with that, and will their defense stand up. But on the flip side, the Bills, while I think that their defense has a lot to be desired, considering how many points they get. I think they have 28 points to the Miami Dolphins, who really had no one out there, including an injured Devontae Parker. So not much is happening there. So you have really the tight end, Jistick, and Fitzpatrick trying to make everything happen. But the Bills still coming along, making a great game. Highlight of that, Josh Allen, keep looking out for him into his performance he's going to have for the rest of the season, because 417 yards, my man, that boy can throw. And I think we got to continue to look at him as really the next star in this league. So amazing Bills. Next one, the Packers I wanted to hit on for a Sunday review, because while we have all these other games, the other one I wanted to throw in are 4 games to look at on Sunday. The Packers are amazing, and I think of this more as a fantasy, because in the end it was a blowout game, 42-21. The man to talk about, Aaron Jones. 3 touchdowns on the day and rushed for 168 yards. He went over in fantasy, and this is why we're talking about this one, over fantasy points, over 40 points. And he's done that 3 times now in the calendar year. Aaron Jones can be a beast in the fantasy world. And I think no surprise. He's being involved in the passing game. He's being involved in the rush game. I think he had a big break rush for almost 78 yards in that game against the Lions. I mean, Aaron Jones, if you have him on your team, he's making you super happy. He's helping you go along the way. I had to play against him this weekend, not enjoy having to deal with that. So Aaron Jones, the star of that, I mean, again, Packers look good. They're running along 2-0, sorry, and they are, I think, going to control that division, especially with the Vikings looking weak. The Bears are so I think, obviously, the Packers can make a good push for the NFC North. So kudos to that. But Aaron Jones is the story of the day there. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 160 yards. I mean, he had 43 yards in fantasy because we have half PPR. It was insane to see him rack up those points. Insane. I mean, the fact is, not a lot of people, I mean, we all knew Aaron Jones is a good running back, but not a lot of people thought he'd be a dominant running back. But this man has carved out a spot for him on the team, carved a spot out in the league to be respected as one of the top running backs. And, I mean, consistently going. He's not being stopped. I loved yesterday seeing him do the Lambeau leap, jumping in with no fans, kind of just enjoying it, pretending there's fans behind him. So they're having fun. So, again, Bills, Dolphins, big game for Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Packers, Aaron Jones going off. The next one I wanted to hit on, obviously, the Seahawks versus the Patriots. This one came down to the last 2 seconds of the game, where the Patriots, I believe, were on the 7-yard line, 2 seconds left, no timeouts, obviously 1 play left. They try and rush with Cam Newton, and he is stopped well short of the goal line with a rush play, trying to go around the left outside edge, a little in, out, I'd say, but just could not get to the Seahawks playing great defense. That game, again, incredible to the end. I think it was 38-3. I'll get the final score on that one. But Cam Newton, big day, 30 out of 44, 397 yards, almost eclipsing that 400-yard marker with 1 touchdown, 1 interception throwing. And then the other big one, which has been new for the Patriots in their offense and having this type of extra option, 47 rush yards and 2 touchdowns. Really played great all the way through. He struggled a little bit on, but started really feeling it. Julian Edelman and him are having a great connection. I know Harry also is someone on the outside that he thinks he can have a good connection with, as well as they continue to develop the passing game. He can throw the ball. We see that with almost 397 yards, completing at a great clip. But the big element for the Patriots is down, they can rush the ball. And maybe that was to their detriment at the end because, Cam had gotten 2 touchdown rushes easily. The Seahawks, I think, knew it was going to Cam Newton in the last play of the game. And when they try to force it through, they got stopped. I don't think Cam Newton is Superman in the sense he can get away from every defender coming after him. But, the Patriots are starting to utilize that rush offense. They really like running with the quarterback. I think, of course, as we know, the Patriots are able to adapt, to redevelop, create a new style of what is Patriot football. And they're doing that with Cam Newton. I think they're going to have great things to come with him being able to rush the ball from the outside, be able to get outside the pocket, make plays longer, figure it out more, and give them more options really throughout the game. So really exciting there. But on the other side of the football for the Seahawks, Russell Wilson coming through a 21 of 28. All right, remember that. 21 of 28. 9 passes less than Cam Newton. 21 of 28. 288 yards. Again, almost 100 yards less than Cam Newton. But threw for 5 touchdowns with 1 interception. He also rushed for 39 yards. But the number there, 5 touchdowns. The efficiency with which Russell Wilson plays is incredible, because the Seahawks have a great rush game with Chris Carson right behind him. They're able to get the yards they need. They can get first downs when necessary. But you have Russell Wilson who can throw back there, and while staying under 300 yards, is still scoring the ball so effectively. He is so good in the red zone. He is so good with the deep pass. He is able to spread it out to all players. I think it was 4 different players scored of those 5 touchdowns. He's throwing to the running back, DK Metcalf, Lockett, Moore. I mean, the throw to Moore was absolutely perfect. Right at the 1-yard line, at the corner, before the pylon, able to get it into him where the defender couldn't get it. More with the incredible footwork to make it happen. Again, it just shows that Russell Wilson is a surgeon when it comes to throwing the ball. He puts it exactly where it needs to be for every player out there on the field, depending on their strengths. If it's DK Metcalf, he's going up high. If it's Lockett, he goes deep to him. We got Moore also on the outside deep. Chris Carson, he has a chuck down to as well. I mean, it's just the accuracy and the way he can throw that ball is beautiful. And Russell Wilson shows that you don't need to pad the stats intensely. He's just getting it done when it needs to get done. And the 5 touchdowns were how they did it to win the game. I don't think you could have a better situation there with Russell Wilson on the Seahawks side. The Seahawks look great, 2-0, cutting the Patriots' run to just 1 win, so 1-1. But, I think a lot to be happy if you're a Seahawks fan. Russell Wilson looks absolutely elite again. He's going to continue to run it up with a lot of touchdowns. I think they have a great rushing offense, too, a great rushing attack. Chris Carson is looking right in his element. He's plowing through. The fumbles seem to be at bay right now, which is excellent. And again, 1 turnover with Russell Wilson with an interception, but it didn't deter him at all. Continue to go out there, continue to do his thing, continue to get the job done, and to really take it to the Patriots. A really great game. If you stayed up through the whole night, you had an excellent finale to that one. Couldn't believe it came down to 2 seconds in a drive. But Cam Newton, again, stopped well short of the game. Love seeing some people try and make some commentary that the game was over already. The legendary troll Skip Bayless was calling out for Cam to be a MVP candidate because he was now 2-0 as a New England Patriots starter. A little early to make that call there, my man. Seahawks coming down to at least take the lead, and then the Patriots having to go the whole way to try and make a final run. They great pass to Julian Edelman, a flag that helped them get further down. I'm surprised they didn't use the timeout with 30 seconds left after that drive. Thought they could maybe use it to elongate the game, maybe really dial up play that worked, because then you had the high pass. I think it was to Edelman that was a little too high between 2 defenders. A bit of a risky pass for Cam Newton, but something he thought he could get away with. But I'm surprised they didn't try and draw a better play for that. In the end, they did have their opportunities. They did get closer to the end zone. The Patriots could have won it. They didn't. The Seahawks came out on top. A great team as well, so no complaints over here. Just exciting Sunday Night Football and a great, really star matchup of the week. But then going to our 4th game to highlight for this week, I'm going to have to talk about the hated team, the most hated team, in my opinion, in football, with the most annoying fan base, the Cowboys over the Falcons. 40-39 with an incredible choke job by the Falcons once again, giving up giving up their largest lead again in a game since when? The Super Bowl, when of course they were the masters of the choke, losing to the Patriots and Tom Brady, giving up almost 30 points in the second half. At one point, the Falcons were up 26-7. 26-7. In the fourth quarter, they're up 36-24, 12 points, something they could easily control, use the run game, waste clock, get away from it. But instead, they allow the Cowboys to claw back, and it is left down to an onside kick from Greg Zuerlein, who doesn't use the kickstand at all. The ball's onside, kicking it over. What in the world were the Falcons players thinking to just sit back and let that ball roll over a 10-yard line and let the Cowboys get on it? Why did no one jump on the damn ball? The Cowboys can't touch it before it goes for 10-yard lines, but you sure as hell can. Well, I mean, I have no idea what they're doing. They were sitting there watching it like they were the receiving team. Like they were the kicking team. Why would you let the Cowboys circle the ball and pounce on it the second got to the 10-yard line? Knock the Cowboy players out of there, jump on the ball, do something to help out your team so that it doesn't impact your game and to give the ball away. But of course, the Falcons, because they are incredibly have this ability to sense when a game could be given away, to sense when their team that they are beating could come from behind and steal it from them. They like to just give it to the team. They want to just hand it over to them. So Zuerlein looks like a genius with the onside kick that he's able to do, letting it to just spin and roll over the 10-yard line, the 10 yards necessary for the Cowboys to pick up the ball. Again, no idea what the Falcons were doing. The fact that they didn't jump, it is insane. So the Cowboys get the ball back again, sets up for a great pass to CeeDee Lamb, who is having a great start to his rookie campaign for the 2020 season. And he is able to set up for a Greg Zuerlein field goal that will let them win 40-39 in the final seconds of the game as the clock runs out for the field goal. Again, Falcons had that game. I turned that game off with 2 minutes left because I saw 9 points to score. The Falcons seemed to be in the driver's seat. I was like, that's fine. The game can go. I can go walk my dog. I can go do things I need to get done because I'd already had to suffer through the Eagles play terrible. Why not and just enjoy that the Cowboys are going to lose? Nope. Falcons have to give it up. I mean, this team, what about the coaching staff allows this team to give up big leads late in the game? It's incredible. And I didn't want to harp on this sense of like, good job of the Cowboys to get the points. Hurts me to say it, but they played a great game to get that win. But the Falcons have to be able to win close games late in the game. And they just continuously give it away. Like, what are you doing? I mean, it was mind-boggling to see that all unfold. I could not believe what I was watching and what was happening. It really... Insane to see how this game unfolded. But the Cowboys get the win, 40-39. They're 1-1. They're going to be tied atop of the NFC East division. The Eagles are going to be in last place, tied with the Giants at 0-2. So at the top, we have a tied Washington football team and the Cowboys at 1-1. It's a weird year. But man, there you go. Cowboys sticking to it till the end, able to get that win. I mean, last week we saw they had trouble getting that final push in the end, but this week, no trouble at all. So a good win by the Cowboys over the Falcons. The other big thing to note for the week 2 of the NFL season were injuries galore. It was a shame to see the injuries going, especially for the 49ers who are lost and probably going to lose for a while, several weeks, if not the season, of Raheem Mostert, who's probably likely out with a knee injury, Jimmy G with his ankle, Nick Bosa with his knee. I believe it's one other lineman we had on the 49ers who's out possibly with a knee injury. But here's some more. Saquon Barkley out with a knee, most likely tore MCL. Sterling Shepard on the Giants out with a toe injury. For the Denver Broncos, Cortland Sutton out with a knee. Drew Lock was injured with his arm. Now they got the win with Driscoll getting the right position, but out again. For the Colts, Paris Campbell out with a knee. For the Rams, Cam Akers out with an arm. I mean, the list goes on and on, but the notable injuries that this week was staggering. Staggering to see how many people got injured at this post. And I mean, we have some big name players. I mean, the number one overall, obviously, is Saquon Barkley being out probably for the rest of the season, which is a huge blow to the Giants' chances of even getting a chance to win games this year. You're not going to win just on Daniel Jones, and I think the backups now are Deion Lewis and Gallman. So really, there's no shot, I think, for the Giants to really recover from a loss like that. We also saw Christian McCaffrey spend some time on the sidelines at the end of the game yesterday where he was apparently an ankle injury. But seriously, I don't know if it's COVID prep. I don't know if it's training. I don't know what have you. But, of course, in 2020, we have a week of just scary injuries across the board for all the teams. It's tough for the teams. It's tough for the players to have to go through that. And the players that are injured to have to suffer through it mentally, try and get that fortitude to be able to overcome this. And, of course, for the fans who expect to have a healthy team that they can root on and are now, unfortunately, going to have to try and see if their team can figure it out without their stars on the field. Obviously, for the 49ers, you're going to now go to Mullins, who will be taking over for the injured Jimmy G if he is out for longer than 1 week. But again, a lot to tell. We do not know where it's going to go. But man, Saquon Barkley was a real shocker. Really a shame there. That whole week, Courtland Sutton on that team. I mean, and Drew Lock was a shame as well for the game. So the hope is obviously to come together. Tyrod Taylor was out this weekend with a bizarre chest injury, which allowed for Herbert to come in for the Chargers to really start and have his first starting game and play like a champ. So that was really incredible against the Chiefs. Obviously losing it late in the game, but in the overtime. But the Chargers playing a great game with Herbert. Tyrod Taylor going to be out, I think, for an extended amount of time. So we might see Herbert getting the full start for the Chargers as a rookie. So that will be underway as well. But again, week 2, bizarre games, weird finishes, and injuries. But now, without further ado, it's time to talk a little Eagles football. That's right. My Philadelphia Eagles decided to go out there and again embarrass themselves in their home opener against the LA Rams, who just last week beat the Dallas Cowboys. It was thought that there would be a chance for them to right the ship, for them to kind of come aboard after really seeing a terrible fall against the Washington football team. After starting red hot against them, they thought that they were absolutely going to make a statement win by trying to take out the LA Rams. Well, the Rams started off exactly as we expected, red hot, scoring on their drives. The defense didn't seem to be able to stop anything. Carson Wentz went on the day 26 of 43 for 60.47% of completion rating, 242 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, 1 key in the middle of the game. Miles Sanders was leading the team with 20 rushes for 95 yards. And, of course, the play calling of the game was 43 passes to 24 rushes. So, again, the Eagles are not balanced with their play calling, focusing on the pass. Few things to note. 1, I think Schwartz is just a completely overrated defense coordinator. I think we've talked about him being like he's a defensive-minded coach. He's had this success. I think he's just a bad coach. I think he makes some terrible play calls. He does not put his players in positions to succeed. The man coverage has left, obviously exposed your defense to show that they can't really stay with their men when they need to. Cooper Kupp had his way with anyone that covered him man to man. The linebackers couldn't stick with the tight ends. Higbee had himself a day. Gary lost Higbee on a huge play where it broke free for a touchdown, just completely over the top. So linebackers can't keep up with tight ends. The cornerbacks are not able to stick man to man except for Darius Slay, it looks like. Mills seems to be playing well at safety, but not getting the communication they need to cover over the top. The zone, Schwartz called on a short third and I think like 3. Schwartz calls a zone defense. So I get it. Man's not working great, but he calls a zone defense, which left all the cornerbacks deep off their wide receivers, and they were able to do a short underpass and get the first down. Again, I think Schwartz is just a bad coordinator. I don't think he actually is calling a good game. I don't really have that much faith in him. I think he might be a bad defensive coordinator, and I don't think he knows he uses weapons. He was not trying to disrupt Jared Goff by rushing him quickly. He was not trying to get blitzes on him. He wasn't really changing his scheme at all, and the Rams had their way with him. They were able to rush the ball with ease. They were able to throw the ball with ease, and it was just a shame. They made Goff look he had 13 straight completions to start the game. 13. It was a new regular season record for this season. It's incredible that our defense can make someone like Jared Goff, who is not a bad quarterback but is not a great quarterback, look elite. We made him look like almost Russell Wilson's surgical level, where he was able to just get passes with ease to wide receivers that looked pretty wide open. The defense had some good moments here and there, but in general, they are not playing up to snuff to be a contending team. So just off the bat, what I'm saying is I think that the defense is in a lot of trouble too for the Eagles. They did not get better. Flip side to the offensive side of the ball for the Eagles, where we obviously know there's troubles because of last week. Wentz again had his moments and yet made critical errors. When they were down 21-16 early in the game in the second half, the defense had miraculously stopped the Rams on their first drive. The Eagles get the ball. They're moving well. Wentz is passing the ball well. We're running the ball well. And yet he goes for a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside deep in the end zone pass that gets easily intercepted by Williams on the Rams. It was a pass that didn't need to be thrown. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was in double coverage. He had beaten one cornerback but was still covered over the top by the safety. It was a tight window that had very little success of being completed, and it was in the end zone. And at that time, you were having success with a little dink and dunk, some cross routes. It seemed to be that there was a formula that you had to be successful against this Rams defense and not be completely overwhelmed by the defensive line that included Aaron Donald. And yet Wentz, in that situation, made a poor decision and turned the ball over. And when that ball was turned over, the Rams went down and scored. And, they had to go from their own 20-yard line, but the defense couldn't stop anything. So the Rams go down and score. And at that point, the game became even harder to win. And Wentz tried to make a miraculous comeback. They did their work. They're trying to get chip away at it, but they couldn't do it. And then in another critical situation where it's fourth and, I think it was 4th and 4, late in the game, in the fourth quarter, with 6 minutes left in the game, and they call up 4th and 2. Sorry, it was only 2 yards. 4th and 2, and they call up a pass play, which of course didn't work because the linebackers had it covered against Goddard and the tight ends where Wentz wanted to force it through, and the pass was nowhere near to be complete. In that situation, Sanders had himself a game. The O-line was controlling the front of the offense. They were able to get pushes on that defensive line. Sanders was getting pockets. He was getting big chunks of play. At 4th and 2, why are you not running the ball? Why are you throwing it? Wentz has already had some tough decisions he has made. He's not seeing the field the way he needs to see it. You're in a critical spot where you need to get the ball, get a first down. Your strength has been the rush game. Why aren't you running it? The offensive line should have been begging for that ball. They knew that they had an advantage. They had the momentum. They could have kept the ball going, and they could have easily gotten those 2 yards. Yet Doug Peterson is overthinking every down. He is showing that for whatever reason, he is putting way too much thought and way too much complication into these simple situations. You're winning the run game. Run the ball. Just run it. You can hide however you want, but just blast up. Sanders is having himself a game. He's almost got 100 yards to that point, and you're not going to run the ball? It made no sense the way they were calling that game. And again, 43 passes, 24 rush. You want to know what the Rams play calling was like? 27 pass to 31 rush. I know the Eagles were down, but when the rush was winning, keep it balanced. That's how we were scoring our touchdowns. That's how we clawed ourselves back into that game, is because the Eagles were running the ball effectively. They're able to score on the rush. They're able to get chunks on the rush, and then it allowed a little more comfort to Wentz, who is still clearly trying to figure out this season, to a little more space to kind of throw the ball with ease. The forcing the passes with Wentz is just not making any sense. And we also finally got to see Hurts out there as a kind of a totem distraction player on the field, not really being utilized at all. But, the play calling, again, they're trying some trick plays, having Hurts there out on the field. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. But that was like the only creativity we saw with it. And on top of that, the overuse of the pass with a team that just is not obviously successful with it, with an O-line that prefers to run, just run the damn ball. Figure it out. Adapt your game plan. Peterson has this weird sheet where in certain situations he has to call play instead of just looking about how the game's going. Don't go instantly to your 4th down plays. Look at the way the game is playing. If your 4th down typically is on passing plays, just run the damn ball. You had the success. Wentz got a touchdown rushing. Miles Sanders had a touchdown rushing. Just keep running the ball. It's that simple. And the Eagles could have kept balance. They could have tried to claw their way back into it. Again, the defense really made it tough for them. But, offense did no favors either for the defense. It's not a very good team. And I think as Eagles fans, we have to come to realization that this is going to be a tough season. It's going to be a long season with a lot of frustration. It's going to be a problem. And I'm starting to slip on confidence for Wentz. Wentz missed wide open Dallas Goedert in one drive in the red zone. He, that was clearly open, just didn't see the field there. He is missing receivers that should be getting the ball. He's narrowing in on some. Yes, I think his passing is getting better as the second week versus the first week, and he has had some stellar moments of just where you're like, this is old Wentz, we love it, but he still has a lack of confidence in certain situations, and he's not seeing the field. I think it's a lot on Wentz. I think it's a lot on coaching. We've known this since 2017. Since DeFilippo left, Wentz's progression has gone backwards. He has not gotten better. If anything, he stayed the same and dropped. So why aren't the coaches able to get the best out of Wentz in these situations? Why are they not able to progress with him and get him back to the old standing that we used to see from Wentz? DeFilippo made great strides with him. Why is he going backwards now? Why can't we get a coach that can connect with this kid and help develop the raw talent that he has into an elite quarterback? Because right now he's not an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but not elite. He's nowhere near that 2017 level. I want to support him to the end. I'm a huge Wentz fan, yet I cannot continue to defend him when he is making these critical mistakes on this team. He is the reason we lost yesterday. That interception, if he does not throw that and we get near, whether it's a field goal or any points on the board, is a different ball game. There is a chance for the Philadelphia Eagles. If Doug Peterson calls a better fourth down play, there's a chance for the Eagles. I mean, we need to rip away the playbook from Doug Peterson. No more calling that. And we need Wentz to work with someone that's going to help him develop his game. Until those two things get done, the Eagles are in a lot of trouble. The defense is not going to hold teams below 20 points. It's going to always need to be offensive power. We're going to need to score to win. And it's going to be a tough division. The Cowboys have proven they can come back late in the game. The Cowboys have offense. Their defense is clearly a problem, but they have offense. The Washington football team is going to have a good defense, no offense, so that's going to be trouble throughout the year. And in totality, the NFC is better. They're getting better every year. So the Eagles are not going to be able to compete in the playoffs, so they cannot get better. Not going to make the playoffs if they don't get better. So a lot of doom and gloom, but I think that there is still hope. But my God, 2 weeks of just brutality for Eagles fans. Can't take it anymore. I can't like sit there and just feel numb to this team playing. It's ridiculous. There has to be better accountability. And Wentz has to stop just talking to the media. He needs to get better. That's all there is. Oh my God. I need a break after that. It's crazy. With that said, with that tirade done, with my thoughts out on the Eagles and how they need to get better. It was a rough week, but there's plenty more football to go. We've seen teams come back from being down 0-2 and get better throughout the rest of the season. There's a chance, but for now, we need desperately for the Eagles just to regroup and just play solid, balanced football. It should be at least 35 passes to 30-some rush. Like, it has to get better. On that, we're going to wrap up the ChadBurn Show. I want to thank you again for listening in. I think each week we're going to look at top 4 games, top 5 games that we liked of Sunday, that we want to talk and highlight some big stats. We're always going to be talking about the Eagles, whether they're winning or losing. I'm hoping it's going to be winning as we go on, and we can talk more about what are the reasons for their success, not the reasons for their failures. NBA will be back into the discussion as we get closer to the finals. Obviously, the Heat with a 2-1 lead, I think they are in a kind of commanding position, could get better. The Lakers with a 2-0 lead on the Nuggets. So I think we're getting there. It's gonna be close, and we should have a good finals. Celtics could come back though. They could take it away from the Heat. So let's see if the Heat can close it out in the next few games. As always, appreciate you listening in. We're gonna continue to do this every week, looking at the NFL as it unfolds. I want to thank everyone for listening in. Until we're able to join again, I want to thank you all for another great week. Until next time, have a good evening and good night. Thank you for listening to the ChadBurn Show. Remember to check out all new episodes every Monday at 7 p.m. on Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and all major platforms where you listen to your podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with me and want to send in your questions or requests for topics to discuss in the show, you can email chadburn.show@gmail.com. All episodes have video recorded, which is then posted to our YouTube channel, The ChadBurn Show. Be sure to subscribe to us where you get your podcast or on our YouTube channel to stay up to date with all our new content. You can also follow the show on Instagram at ChadBurn Show and on Facebook, The ChadBurn Show, to see clips from previously recorded episodes and information on all upcoming shows.